It's a big deal.
You're a big deal.
Anyways. Hey, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Phil.
And Larry's running late today, so it's just Phil and I.
That statement is correct.
We're doing stuff and things.
Mostly things.
Phil hates it, though. He likes to call it the podcast stuff and things. Just look at that. Look at that anger. It's raging. There it is.
Kevin gets a lot wrong, but he gets it mostly right. Kevin mentioned that recently the state of Colorado has passed a law statewide that infringes upon Second Amendment rights, which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of dialogue for it, but the premise is
Take it away, Kevin.
that our our governor has passed a law into effect that if Phil decides that I might be a threat to him, that they can go into my house and take all my firearms without any consent of mine at all, which speaks directly to our Second Amendment rights and infringes upon it greatly.
Yeah, that infringes upon a few things.
So,
from how it sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know the letter of the law.
So we definitely are going to do research on this probably, and maybe get someone in here.
Yeah, we're definitely probably going to do some research and maybe get someone in here.
To talk about this in more detail, but to me, it just sounds completely wrong because I should have a right to own my firearms, and I understand where the fear is coming from, which I think is what most things cause for law to change is fear. People are afraid of something, so the fear would be if I am deranged, I could go on a shooting spree and kill a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what our media is showing mostly, I think. When you watch the news, is all these mass shootings from these deranged people. And so the thought process behind the law, I think, is, well, if I know Phil's deranged or I feel he is, we can stop it before it happens. But I don't agree with it.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Phil?
Well, there's a devil's advocate question, and that is who gets to decide.
Right.
And so the whole idea, well, the way I'll express it right now, an idea about law and legislation is you are now appealing to a higher authority than just the impulses of the individuals for laws. So you kind of, it seems how from your description of the law that the incentive system has been really maligned in that if one person's like, oh, I really think this is a problem, I'm going to make one phone call and supersede rule of law, supersede the warrant system, supersede the Constitution, supersede the checks and balances of the policing force, and also the checks and balances of the voting legislation that doesn't seem to be at all in accordance with what the precedent or what our rights are.
Right. So how would you go about preventing these mass shootings in another, maybe more fruitful way?
So I don't have any prudent amounts of notes or previous reading to do this well, but our current societal trend of things like that, I think, is much deeper than gun laws. Well, everyone knows that. Even if we don't talk about it, everyone knows it.
Right.
So you are not going to solve the problem of shootings with gun laws. Actually, my current understanding, which, like I said, is not verifiably informed, but it seems like I tend more toward the side of guns don't kill people, people kill people. And so human beings have been being violent and so on toward each other for a long, long time. So the methods or the vehicles of that have changed, but that does not at all change what you could call human nature. And you could read into that phrase human nature different ways, but psychological breaks, like people going psychotic and using whatever tool they have. Like one of the more recent ones, I guess, was a dad and his daughter at a place, and he got into a confrontation with another male. And after that confrontation, the guy with his daughter went to continue to eat, and that male went out to his car and got a firearm and came back and started shooting up the place. And so it's not a problem of an access to lethal force. It's a problem of a use of lethal force in a psychotic way. And so that's not a gun law thing. There's no gun law that would have curtailed that happening. Like, right. Even if it is illegal to have a gun in your car or to not be certified, all that, like, people are still in some percentage going to have guns in their car.
Right.
So the importance of that is one of the main ethical foundations of our society and of liberty is you don't get to infringe on my rights and I don't get to infringe on yours. So you can do whatever you want until it affects me. And then
Right.
in a negative way, and then there should be ways to curtail that. But as far as I feel a certain way about you, well, you committed nothing, presumably, that's actually infringing on my rights.
Yeah.
Things like verbal abuse or emotional abuse or domestic abuse or anything like that, that's completely different. Those are violations of law and those are violations of what is right. But that's a separate, I think, issue from do you have the right to arm yourself? And do I have the right to arm myself? So I can fortify myself within my own rights, but I can't curtail your rights and weaken you to the point where you're no longer a threat.
Right.
That's a goalpost that will constantly move back until everyone's too weak for anything, and then anyone who, again, supersedes lawful behavior can take advantage of anyone they want. So that's what it's always been, I think. So from the way you've described the law to me just this morning, it doesn't seem to remotely solve the problem. It actually will, I think, exacerbate it a lot.
Yeah. I think that instead of if there was going to be a law at all, instead of it being able to go take these people's firearms, I think it should be more, let's take this person into custody and let's get them checked out, like by a mental psychiatrist or whatever, to see if they actually are deranged. I think that'd be a more healthy way. I still think that could infringe upon them as a human being, especially with the boy who cried wolf syndrome, where I just don't like Phil. I'm going to say Phil's deranged so that he has to get taken away for a little bit. I think it could lead to that, so I think there would have to be some circumstantial evidence of you being deranged first, but
right.
For me to just say that you're deranged and
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
I feel threatened by you. Let's say we're at a hockey game or something, because you love your hockey, which
That's
Avalanche
correct.
made it to second round last night.
They did so good.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's say we're at a thing and I'm on the opposite team and we're just getting into it, and I threaten you on the ice because emotions are heated and I'm like, man, I'm going to hurt you after this game or whatever.
Yeah.
You could use that now to call, I don't know who you can call, but call whoever.
Right.
And they could come into my house and take all my stuff because in a heated moment, I was angry.
Yeah, I don't know the letter of the law pertaining to like professional sports, but that, like, pardon my French, but it's been a repeated phrase I've heard multiple times while I've played hockey of, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Right.
Okay, well, yeah. At what point do I get to call the cops and be like, yeah, take away that guy's knives and guns and everything because while we were having a game, he said a mean thing.
Right.
And that's what I mean of, I think that's a bigger statement of me than it is of anyone else.
So I think...
Now, outside of other contexts, like a belligerent man tells a child or a woman or another man, like, I'm going to do this, that, and the other in a setting that's like, oh, is he going to follow through on this? There's a lot of gray area in those contexts. But in the, like, I don't know, this kind of goes off topic, but FISA courts are a big deal for that because now there's almost a completely separate legal system for people to expedite or supersede the existing legal system in a way that allows them to do things that wouldn't be timely otherwise or wouldn't be possible otherwise. And so they've made laws that allow them to do workarounds that actually are not necessarily in accordance with the Constitution. So you could make the case in matters of national security or in wartime, stuff like that. There are circumstances that can merit such things, but those circumstances should not fall under the definition of at all times, anywhere within our borders, always.
Right, I agree.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that.
That's a good warm-up.
All right.
Tell us your opinions.
Yeah,
Get
let
mad at us,
us
please.
know. Yeah. We'll try to post some articles.
Because odds are we're wrong.
Post some articles or something in the description below. Pretty sure we're supposed to do that. And if you like our content, subscribe and make sure to use that notification button so you can see when we post new stuff. We try
the
to
more triggered the possible.
We try to be pretty involved. Get a couple up every couple weeks at least, but we're busy people.
Yeah.
This is not our full-time thing at all.
That's true.
So
That's a true statement.
anyway, this is Stuff and Things.
Moment of silence for our real lives.
So sad.
All right.
And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Ah.